Hey everybody, this is Arman. Today is March 16th, 2018. It's been about 6 weeks since our last show, February 2nd, where we talked about FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in relation to markets. And specifically, we talked about the emerging cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin, and other blockchain-based companies. That is a topic that we will continue to revisit. So we're going to talk about that today as well, a bit later in the podcast. I honestly wish I can do a show every week. I've been traveling a great deal on behalf of business, on behalf of several of the ventures, and specifically Kidcoin, which we'll talk about a little bit more today as well. So I do want to share the updates about the things we've been learning. I've spoken at 4 conferences over since we last met on February 2nd, and there's met also a lot of other industry leaders, tech, startup, blockchain innovators, people that are literally not just changing the game, but really building the foundation of this whole emerging industry. So I'll share some of my updates and learnings from those experiences, through the course of today's podcast. But I do want to start with one of, I think, almost everyone's favorite time of year, especially in this part of the world. We've got springtime, hopefully coming up in 5 days, March 21st. The spring starts. It also corresponds with the Persian New Year, which is, my background and heritage, something I've been celebrating since as long as I could remember, since my childhood. And the beauty of it is, I love having the New Year on January 1st on kind of the normal calendar that we have here, but there's something special about the New Year being corresponded with nature, corresponding with the trees and the flowers starting to blossom. And springtime, it seems like a new year for the earth. And it seems like in kind of the natural cycle of our bodies, of our ecosystem and environment, that it's a much more natural new year period, a fresh start for things. So as a goal setter and as someone that focuses a lot of my effort on planning, setting goals, having aspirations, I look forward to any new cycle, whether it's a new day or a new week, a new quarter, a new year, as a time period of potential reflection and maybe making some changes, setting some new goals. It's really a fresh start. And this March 21st coming up with the weather hopefully warming up. It's still pretty cold here in New York and Jersey City, where we're filming from. But hopefully within the next week, we'll start getting that nice warm weather along with the spring season. So in celebrating that, a really exciting announcement I have, and the first major topic I want to focus on is a new release we have. I'm releasing a book that's really been a collaborative effort with a whole team of designers, of psychologists, of therapists, of programmers. We've been building an app that's going to be launching in the Apple and Android stores right around the New Year's time. Maybe March 21st might actually be the launch date. But we also set March 4th, which was my birthday that recently passed, as kind of our unofficial launch date of the 2020 Life Vision book and app, at least the beta version. So what I wanted to do was just share a couple of snippets from the book and talk about what this journey has been for me and what I hope this product and program can be for those of you that choose to participate in it. So you could see here our logo for what we call the 2020 Life Vision Challenge, and how we term it really a 30-step guide to unveiling your higher purpose. And a couple of pages I just want to share, kind of delving into the book. First and foremost is the dedication. I've dedicated this book to one of my spiritual teachers who recently passed, Dario Salas Summer, who was based for most of his life, all of his life, in Santiago, Chile. An unbelievable spiritual teacher. I just want to read a couple of words from the dedication here. Oftentimes, the world does not know what it has until it is gone. Think about classical artists who lived in poverty and then had their works valued in the millions by following generations. How about prophets who are vilified in their times and then worshipped by the masses after passing away? When truth is spoken in clear and powerful language, It shocks our artificially manufactured worlds, and the cultural collective personality resists. But our spirit instantly recognizes truth and urges us to follow. That defines my journey over the past 25 years as a spiritual warrior, and since 2004 as a student of Dario Salas Summer. He carried a special torch in this lifetime that lit the hearts and souls of thousands of seekers throughout the world, helping them become conscious and compassionate human beings. His mission was to raise the consciousness of this planet Earth, and he successfully achieved it. His teachings, derived from ancient Hermetic principles, call upon the best part inside of us, the higher self, to emerge and establish order throughout our mind and body. Dario's message lives on, and I'm one of those who considers himself responsible for carrying it forward through my own actions, words, and being. We still have a lot of work to do, for which thankfully we have been blessed with guidance from within and above, who has sent us many great teachers, including this Master of Light, to be a beacon for humanity, now and in the future. I hereby dedicate 2020 Life Vision to the memory and ever-present luminescence of the spirit which manifested in this world for a brief moment as a Chilean philosopher named Dario. A life well lived. Dario Salas Summer passed away on February 3rd, 2018, just about 1 month before his 83rd birthday. In Dario's honor, I chose to release this book and its corresponding application on a birthday that he and I share, March 4th, and the only day of the year which gives a clear commandment, one that I can say defines my mentality and one of the core precepts of his teachings, which are well represented throughout the 2020 program. To be relentlessly positive and always strive for growth in the face of life's challenges. So I feel really good about dedicating this work to Dario, one of the great influences that I've had. And I'll just quickly flip through a few of the pages so you can see the unique format we have. We start with this guidebook. So in essence, there's 30 steps or 30 lessons or modules, however you want to term them, that don't have to be done sequentially, that don't have to be done in a 30-day format. You can do it over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever moves you. You can do all of the program. You can pick and choose which parts you like. But it is a comprehensive program if you do choose to entail the full breadth of it, that really breaks down into 3 main areas. Kind of meditation on what our life has been to date, and then kind of a self-assessment to see what kind of resources you have in your current status, and then kind of vision creation towards the future. And then the book is broken down into 2 parts. This guidebook, which basically has the content, the text, and then the workbook in the back where you participate and start answering questions that are posed in the guidebook. So I'm just going to quickly flip through the sections here. You can see the lessons are pretty short and compact and kind of digestible in the 30 steps as they're presented in the front. Again, across 3 different areas, and the areas are color-coded, so this assessment area, and then ultimately the vision creation. And then in the back, we have the workbook, which is, again, all answering the questions that are posed in the front. So each step in the workbook corresponds back to its step 2 in here in the guidebook. Now the app, if you choose to download that as well, which is going to be free for a period of time, and then ultimately will be kind of a freemium offering where you get the basics of the app for free, and then if you want to store data and continue using it and building upon it, you would have a price that we've yet to determine. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of feedback we get from the marketplace, from our community. But it would have similar questions to what you see being posed here in the book. So if you're the kind of person that likes writing by hand and doing your goals and whatnot that way, you can use this large workbook as a way, something to carry around with you and just handwrite. You basically come out of this with a life vision, with a refreshed life vision. And if you choose to use the app instead or in addition to the book, which I would advise, then you would have that right here, always with you on your mobile device. And there's components where you get to invite advisors or peers or family members that would help you collaborate and give you feedback, on your goals or on how you're doing, to really just kind of build that support network. That's something that we facilitate through our app by integrating, through Facebook with Facebook Messenger, and having that connectivity with your support group, with what we call your board of advisors. So I'm super excited about it. It's a project that's a long, long time in the making, and it's really just the first of many products we plan to release under our TimeBug brand, which is focused on quantified self, personal analytics, and personal growth. This we felt was our most kind of poignant and direct offering we could bring, to demonstrate the value of a life not just well-lived, but a life well-lived being one that's kind of reflected upon, a life of reflection, a life of self-analysis, a life of self-inquiry, where we continue to seek and ask why we're here, what our purpose is, and how we're doing along those lines. Are we following our calling, or are we somehow been carried away from it, from the various distractions and pressures of the world, or influences of our own ego, or some kind of circumstance that might have taken us off track? How do we really tune into that, tune into our own hearts, our own spirits, and continue to find that message, and let that message kind of continue to grow and continue to be reborn? Just again, like the seasons and like the new year, there's these new opportunities to kind of reflect and reevaluate, which is why this kind of planning and goal setting and life vision creation is not a one-time deal. It's not something you do once and you're done. It's something that you do whenever you're called to, whenever you feel it can help you get some order and get some direction in your life, and then it's something to continue to revisit. Obviously, it's an active and living process. So again, really excited about it, and I look forward to having everyone's feedback. And we'll be talking about it more. In fact, some of our colleagues that have been working on the project are going to be taking the challenge, the 2020 Life Vision Challenge, in an active, live way, and recording podcasts and videos as they embark and engage in each step. They'll be sharing their experiences and talking about it, and trying to engage the community through various social media to encourage others to also share what experiences they're having as they go through different steps in this journey. It really is a journey. And then that journey really just becomes the beginning of a larger journey. So welcome everyone to participate. Again, the app is free, so encourage you to take a look out for the 2020 Life Vision app in the App Store over the next week or so. And then look out for these podcasts that various members of our team will be conducting, as they engage in different steps in the journey. So moving on from that, for the moment, let's go into the big topic of the year, I believe, which is the blockchain and cryptocurrencies. I want to first give everyone an update on what we've been doing with Kidcoin. Kidcoin is just an unbelievable venture and experience. It's very early in the process. We had some branding questions because Kidcoin is really the child, in a sense, or the extension and evolution of a long-time vision that myself and some others shared, called 401 Kid, a company that we formed back in 2000 to help parents and families, mostly in America, plan and save for college. And I say mostly in America because we followed the tax laws and different vehicles, financial vehicles like 529 plans and Coverdell accounts that are available for American families and for US-based higher education, which is obviously a big problem in terms of rising cost and a source of stress for parents and families. So with 401 Kid, we worked diligently for about 10 years to build this community, build this application, and become a registered investment advisor and give parents and young kids who are also concerned about their future advice on how to save objectively, what the best plans were for them. And we ended up serving thousands and thousands of families. We had millions of visitors to our website over this period of time, reading our research, using our calculators and tools. And I felt very good about that business, but that business was only a part of a much larger vision. And what I felt was that we were only serving, we were only focused in one country where the epidemic and challenges of financial literacy and getting kids and parents and focusing family finance on healthy value building and ways to make do with what you have, but learn strategies to earn more, to save, and to have a positive relationship with money and not have it be a source of stress and a source of fighting and a source of greed and all the negative things that we can associate when we're not oriented the right way or we don't learn a proper value system in relation to just material things and money. I felt we were missing that with 401k by focusing, again, only in the US and by focusing only on the people that can afford to save for higher education, which ends up being less than 10% of the whole population that can actually think about that. Everyone else is focused on trying to make ends meet, trying to get out of debt, and just trying to put food on the table and get through raising young children, not to mention saving for their own retirement and their own jobs. So I felt that we had something good there, but there was something a lot bigger that we still were missing. And that's when the vision of Kidcoin started emerging over the past year after 401k had been dormant for a number of years. So the plan became that Kidcoin acquires 401k, brings in that intelligence of the education savings piece, and then adds all the other spokes of the wheel. So this is a financial literacy platform. It's based in the blockchain. So we will be advising kids and parents, the whole ecosystem related to financial literacy and family finances. We will be not just advising them, but we'll be giving them tools so that they can learn the principles and the values, positive values associated with managing their resources from a very young age. I believe once a kid becomes a teenager, they're already psychologically and emotionally programmed in a certain way towards money. They've already seen their parents either fighting over it or having certain rules and restrictions or whatever values their parents have followed in relation to money. They would most likely learn by modeling that or react and kind of try to go the opposite direction. Either one's not necessarily the most healthy approach. And oftentimes, depending on parental values, kids are sheltered and shielded and kind of overprotected in a way where they don't get access to money and to be able to learn. Sometimes you learn by making mistakes, and those mistakes are better made when the quantities are a few $100s than when it's a few $1,000 later in life when you're actually earning your own money and trying to make decisions about mortgages and expenses and things of that nature. So the whole premise of our app and of our technology and system in Kidcoin is to have kids from a very young age have what we call a hybrid digital wallet, where they could manage both cryptocurrency as well as fiat dollars, more traditional assets, and in a way that's very, I don't want to say controlled by parents, but moderated and monitored, so parents can have monitoring tools that would prevent, let's say, young kids from making major mistakes or being taken advantage of by predators or anyone that has negative intentions. So there's a whole vetted ecosystem, a marketplace, and different tools that allow parents to monitor and protect their kids, but at the same time, invite those young people into the process where even if you have a view-only account where you're stating your preferences and your wish lists, it's a kind of gamified interface, again, primarily mobile first, but also available on the computer, normal web access, as well as app access. The kids would have kind of what looks to them like a game, but what parents would help them understand is actually real money, real funds and gifts that are being given to them over the course of their birthdays and holidays, where they could then see that start to build up in value over time, ask questions about it, participate in the process of how it builds up, where it's spent, how it grows, maybe donating. So there's a lot of components. I won't explain them all here, but we're developing actively, we're hiring actively, going and speaking at shows. We're really the first in the blockchain space that's focused on family finances. So we are first to market, although our products aren't in market yet, but we're first in concept to market. And we're actively raising money through an ICO, initial coin offering, that you may have heard of. There's a lot of controversy around ICOs nowadays as kind of a new way, essentially a crowd-funded way to raise capital for startup, mostly technology companies, that really does compete with the more traditional models of angel investing and venture capital investing into startups. So although a lot of the smarter VCs are also investing in blockchain, this is a whole approach where you, as a startup, don't have to actually give equity away in your company because you're giving these coins, you're giving your Kidcoins in our case, as the token offering that has a certain value, and the early participants or investors are basically buying your coins in anticipation that when you launch your platform, they can actually utilize those coins in various ways for their kids, for all the different utilities and functions and features that we'll be offering. Then the early investors can get a good early price in where they'll be able to retrieve more value in the ecosystem once the products are launched. There are also secondary marketplaces that have developed, as you may know, Binance and Bittrex and the hundreds of others, over 100 I believe at this point, exchanges where the different cryptocurrencies, over 1,500 now, are able to be traded as they rise and fall in value. Now lately, a lot of cryptos, after having a stellar 2017, growing 10x, 50x, Bitcoin and all the others, many others, have started to be corrected, as they say, and gone down a bit. People are blaming the regulation. I don't quite blame that as much as just a normal course of correction. Markets can't just keep going up all the time. That's just not feasible. So I think these several corrections we've had are normal, are somewhat necessary, and just par for the course. Everyone's catching on. There's still only, I believe, of the global population, the latest figures are still less than 2% and closer to only 1% of the global population are invested in cryptocurrencies. So, and the market, overall market cap is about 400 billion right now. So those numbers should be closer to 7 to 10% and closer to 5 trillion plus, I would say, and some reports are showing over the next 3 to 5 years. And we could reach those numbers a lot faster. It depends on a lot of factors, but a lot of people are still on the sideline watching, waiting, learning. And it's only starting to penetrate mass consciousness now. You see mass media, the newspapers now, and the Wall Street Journal, and all the financial shows now talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency. Even comedians, like was it John Oliver, recently posted one of his shows. He had a whole segment focusing on cryptocurrency with a little bit of a negative bent, kind of calling it a bit of gambling and whatnot. I think he actually did a good job presenting some of why blockchain's valuable, why the underlying technology is actually innovative, and why it's a disruptive technology that's changing the game for not just financial services, but other markets as well. And I think he presented it fairly well with, kind of part of the nature of, his character in the show to kind of knock things a bit and make fun of them. So I thought it was actually a pretty good overview. You could just Google it, John Oliver and cryptocurrency, and take a look. It's actually pretty funny. And one of the people he kind of jabs at there, Brock Pierce, who's one of the founders of EOS, is someone I actually shared a stage with at a recent conference and got to meet. And don't really have a strong opinion one way or another yet. Obviously, he's one of the founders of EOS, which is one of the top 5, top 10 cryptos as far as market cap. They haven't delivered a product yet, like a lot of cryptos that got highly funded to build their products, and now it's kind of a waiting game, wait and see if these companies are for real or if it was a lot of smoke and mirrors. So I think it's too soon to tell as far as EOS is concerned, and kind of early to market entrepreneurs like Brock Pierce have become really wealthy one way or another through this, and so be it. It was their early bet in the game that got them in those positions, and credit to them. But yeah, let's see what some of those companies do now. As far as regulation is concerned and ICOs, by the way, we do have a webinar, I believe it's March 28th, that I'll be conducting, the 7 pillars of ICO marketing, now that we're getting a ton of experience being involved in one with Kidcoin, and then there's several others that we're obviously getting to learn about and talk to other founders and people that are advising them, and several of the advisors that we have already been through ICOs and are also advising other companies. So collectively, our group, from the lawyers to the accountants to the marketers, now has much, much more experience in this domain. And I thought it was a nice kind of way to fold in our 7 pillars model that, as you may know, 7 pillars of digital marketing, our popular book and course and academy, that the 7 pillars framework actually folds in and can be overlaid onto other concepts like this. So we'll be doing the 7 pillars of ICO marketing later in March. Feel free to tune in. It's a free webinar. You could find information about that on our 7pillarsdigital.com website. And again, I'll just say, as far as regulation, the SEC, the IRS, and the US approach and mentality towards it, have to choose my words, I guess, somewhat carefully, since we're going through that process of registering and looking to be, a compliant ICO that, although the Kidcoin isn't actually based in the US, our main company is in the Cayman Islands, but we also have an operating subsidiary, here in Delaware. The US, it will be one of our primary markets that we look to offer our products to. As far as a financial literacy product, I don't think any market needs it as much as we do, here in the States. And so we do want ICO participants as US families, parents, teenagers, even college kids, to participate. And we want them to own Kidcoin, to learn about cryptocurrency. We believe it's an emerging asset class that's here to stay. The US's position and how the SEC is kind of talking tough about how they want to regulate these ICOs and cryptocurrency companies, I believe is a bit heavy-handed at this point. I think it's part of the main reason why most ICO investors aren't US investors, and I don't think that's to our benefit. I think it's hurting us, and it's restricting. I don't think it's protecting people the way they claim that their purpose is, to protect investors, and this whole concept of needing to be an accredited investor, which means you need to earn over $200,000 a year or have over $1 million worth of assets, liquid assets, or net assets, which very few people have. I mean, that's like a top 5% of the population type of standard and status. So basically, what the governments are saying is everyone who's doesn't earn that much money isn't smart enough to understand how to evaluate these kind of investment opportunities. And to me, that's actually insulting. That's insulting the intelligence of common man, common folks that earn 50, 60, 70, even $100,000, which is a nice salary in most parts of the country. I think in any part of the country, over $100,000 should be able to earn you and your family a nice living, and should be able to afford you the opportunity to make choices how you want to invest your money, even if it's a risky, high-risk tech startup. And again, this is a form of crowdfunding, where should be at least a form of crowdfunding, and the ICOs that have been successful have done so through crowdfunding. Now, this whole new concept of the institutional investors and the SEC and all these guys coming in to say, well, no, we don't want to give everyone equal opportunity to get in at the ground level, the cheapest possible price that these tokens are being offered. because of whatever reason or another, they can justify tokens are going to be traded in a marketplace, in an exchange, so they need to be regulated. Of course, there needs to be some regulation, but I don't believe the SEC is the organization, cut out to do that. And I don't think that's in the best interests of the American people. I don't think they're protecting people at all. They're protecting their own ass. They're protecting, very special interest, elite people in government, and they're protecting the established financial elite, that kind of 1% that, Occupy Wall Street came after. They're protecting them and their current lofty positions of kind of controlling wealth in the world and in this country and trying to control other people. So it's essentially a control mechanism, not for the benefit of the masses in any way at all. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Whether they want to admit it or not, they probably never will. So I think it's up to the community, and the blockchain and crypto community. Essentially, all you have to do is tap into those different forums and Reddits and Telegram channels to see what people really think around the world and even in the US. And it's not in favor of these, regulatory bodies and kind of government edicts. But then again, when you have a company operating in that jurisdiction and you're trying to appeal to investors in that area, I do advise that you have a good lawyer and look to follow the rules when they're written. But in this industry, the rules are still largely unwritten. There's just a lot of talk. There's obviously been certain companies and officers of crypto companies subpoenaed, to show up and testify. It doesn't mean they've done anything wrong. It just means that there's some question marks and some research, some probes into the way they've done things, the way they've offered their tokens or run their ICO. And again, we'll see how that plays out in terms of whether people are given fines or asked to do things in a different way or get in trouble in some other way. And so again, the summary for me is we've got a great law firm and different lawyers that even advise us on these matters. And we're planning to do things again, by the book. Again, we'll be operating in multiple jurisdictions. Our main jurisdiction is actually outside of the US. But that still means when you're targeting or hoping to have some participants in your token sale process in a specific country like the US, there's certain compliance and registrations you need to do, which we fully intend on doing. A lot of money on legal bills. Anyone that thinks doing an ICO and launching a blockchain company is like some easy, quick way to raise money is totally wrong. I mean, whatever we see in terms of those headlines of people's pre-sales closing out in 30 seconds or 30 minutes, I'm sure that happens for the most popular ones, but those people have also spent generally millions of dollars to get to that point. So just like anything in life, it does not come easy, and we shouldn't expect it to. And if it does, we should be a little bit suspicious. But that being said, the blockchain overall is a revolutionizing technology. I just came back from speaking at the crypto investor show in London, where people there are extremely excited, already very well versed, and participating actively. So I believe Europe is going to be one of the very strong markets for blockchain going forward, as well as the U.S. Hopefully, the U.S. won't be dampened with all this overburdensome regulation, and we'll kind of learn some lessons from how some other folks are doing it, because I think we're not a leader in this space. We're a follower as a country, and that's okay, because this is a global movement and it is a decentralized movement. It's not about centralized pockets of power as much as kind of sharing wealth and opportunity and new technology that's going to make a lot of changes that are hard to put our finger on. But as it applies to politics, even voting, there's a couple of companies doing things in the political realm. So it's not just disrupting financial services. Blockchain is disrupting the entire world in one way or another. So we'll keep bringing more updates on that over time. That is all the time we have here today. Thank you for listening. Look out for the 2020 Life Vision app and book in the app stores and up in Amazon, Kindle edition as well, coming at some point down the line. And also look out for more information on Kidcoin and our upcoming ICO and ICO presale over the coming months. Thank you very much. Sign off. Have a great day and happy spring. Take care.